Hello everyone, I guess hopefully you guys are having a wonderful day, and today we are here with a video on the old school RuneScape market crash, how to navigate it, and really what's going on. So, as someone that's primarily just made hardcore Iron Man videos and Slayer guides for the last few months, I want to take a step back into the regular game because enough people are panicking in my clan chat that I feel like I gotta make a video on it, looking at what's going on, because I do like to stay a little bit in the loop as far as prices and what goes on there, because I always enjoy flipping. And people in my clan chat have been freaking out lately about where prices are at right now, so had to make a video talking about it. Oh, hey there, cutie. Shameless plug for the clan chat if you want to join it. But with that said, let's go ahead and just get on into the RuneScape market crash, what it means, what to take away from it. Moral of the story, don't freaking panic. So quickly running through why I think the market is where it's at, just so I can kind of set the baseline for what we're going to get into. First thing, gear changes, potential meta changing gear updates through Jagex. They're just, kind of pulling and implementing a lot of gear changes, which are just naturally is going to make people less secure in their items. They don't feel as safe because there probably will be new items on the way, and that is fair. Another reason could be the farming of items for real-life money. There's a lot of people that farm things in-game to sell for real-life money, and an example of that would be Zenites lately. Whenever I was at Demonic Gorillas a couple weeks ago, the place was absolutely packed, and now there's essentially like no one when I go there. Odds are people were farming it for money, rather with bots or real people, I don't know, but whenever Jagex does crack down on it, you'll see the market change on those items, but at that point the market has already probably gotten demolished by the bots or by the gold farmers. Another small factor I would say would be the low cost in skilling supplies at the moment. Skilling supplies are being pumped into the game at a pretty high level, and so I think people are more likely than ever to go ahead and sell off some gear pieces to fund some of the buyable decisions that they'd want to make so that they don't have to pay a higher price later in the game, so they want to lock in the ability to do that now. And then finally, panic. You add all three of the earlier factors, there's probably some seasonal changes with it too. Summer's coming, COVID's lessening, maybe people just want to sell their gear, get cash, and go do whatever. I don't know what the implication is with all of that, but at the end of the day, there's more than a few factors that have led to the price falling a little bit, but once the price starts falling, then you have like all of the normies that notice the falling of the item and then decide that they want to sell as well, because if it's going to fall, I don't want to lose my money, so I gotta sell. So that just leads to the market kind of spiraling from there. So let's go ahead and get into some graphs and really break down what we're seeing. Gonna head on over to GE Tracker. They are a partner of mine. If you want to use the affiliate link, it'll be in the description below, and I'd appreciate it greatly. But we have here a Dragon Hunter Lance at 59 mil currently. If we go down and look at the yearly chart, we can kind of see why everyone is in a state of panic. So yeah, within the last year was as high as 103 mil and then fell all the way down to what is currently 59 mil, even lower than what this graph is showing. So that is a significant drop. I will warn that 103 mil was like, I'm pretty sure the all-time high for this item, so I wouldn't read too much into that. There is a pretty significant drop, obviously, but if we look over a monthly scale, this will show you how much it has been impacted recently. So, I mean, 67 mil a month ago, and then even as much as a couple weeks ago, it's still almost 67 mil, and then just absolutely tanked. People freaked out this week. Went from 63 and then tanked down to 56 at the low. And then it's bounced back a little bit. That's what you want to see. Nice little stable bounce back. We'll see where it goes from here. What I would say is, if you are looking to buy items right now, it is the absolute time to go ahead and do that. Because whenever you're seeing all-time low prices added on to like a significant dip of panic, that's just in a prime position to be buying, which is not what most people are going to think. Whenever you buy a Dragon Hunter Lance, say you bought for 70 mil a month ago, you've been using it at Warcath, feeling good, and then suddenly you look and it's down to 56 mil. You've already lost 14 mil on it in a month. I don't even know how much Warcath you've done, but you would have had to have done a little bit to make that money back, purely just to be able to use it. So once you've already lost all that money, do you want to risk it? And typically, your average noob isn't going to want to risk it, so they'll just sell for the loss. But then when you sell for the loss, these items are going to retrace back up, and that's the problem. If you sell now, when these retrace, you're going to have less buying power. You can't buy as much into the market because the prices have gone past where you sold. So that's the warning against selling. That's what I'm going to say for a lot of this video. I know everyone's panicking. I know everyone wants to sell, but please, if you actually want to use the items, just keep them. They're perfectly fine. Look here. The second item on the list today is a Sanguinesti staff. This one also tanked. As you can see a couple days ago, 70 mil. Right now, 63 mil. Also on a yearly scale, I mean 115, 130, and then even in November, 120 mil. And then just absolutely tanked over the last 3 months from 100 mil all the way down to 63. And essentially this staff's like a crazy trident that heals you, and it is worth 63 mil, and that is crazy. That is just far too cheap. And I know that Theater of Blood and some of these places, they do get farmed a little bit more than most, but as Jagex needs to, they will go ahead and focus on these places. That's what I'd like to kind of make a point. Jagex isn't the best at preemptively stopping things from happening, but once it's gotten to the point where it's pretty absurd, they are going to do something about it. An example of that recently was Pharaoh scepters. Now these aren't gear related, but it's a nice lesson of the market and kind of how Jagex approaches this. Over on the Old School RuneScape wiki, had to take a look at an all-time price graph to get a better view of what's going on here. Pharaoh scepters are an example of where bots go and just farm them. Whenever there were the Twitch Prime promotions, bots would absolutely tear these things up. And so you'd see, like here, they'd be sitting at 7 mil, tank a little, then they tank a massive amount down to 3 to 4 mil. It would take them forever after the bots were banned to build back up the steam and the prices. Once that happened eventually, still more Twitch promos, and then they have tanked absolutely down to 2 mil. Now, Jagex has done a really good job at kind of avoiding this from happening in the future, but still so many of them have been pumped into the game that it's just going to take a long time for these things to be able to build out of where they're at now. But as you can see, whenever there are items that bots or other unnatural forces are farming into the game, once they get taken away, pretty obviously the price is going to bounce back. Now, to what extent? That's what it's hard to tell. You know, when there isn't a ton of these things in the game, it can bounce back pretty easily. When there's an absolute boatload of them in the game, we can see the price has been pretty suppressed for a while now. And that's what you have to be weary of. But Pharaoh scepters are an item that doesn't have much natural demand. You don't really need it on your account. So I think it's an item that's more likely to sit low. While with other items like Zenites or things that people are going to need in their setups, I think you have a lot higher likelihood of that bouncing back up once the external forces are eliminated. And we'll round off the examples with the Garazi Rapier here. If we look at the yearly graph, just to show you, it happens for a lot of this stuff. Just 170 mil, 180, farmed in the game constantly for a year by a lot of gold farmers and also by just regular people doing theater. Still sat at like 150 for the longest time, then now has tanked. And again, down here with the supply demand, you can see that pretty heavy supply there during the summer, I guess into the fall months, and now supply's gone down quite a lot. But suddenly, once the market starts just absolutely downturning, people freak out, and you can see that it has spiked back up in terms of bought and sold a day. So, again, largely driven by overall market panic, and I don't think that it's, going to continue. I don't know how it could, or else these items will just be insanely cheap. And I mean, if they are, then, I'll be buying up all the max stuff I can in game. But I really don't think that when you look at this, like on a weekly scale, an item that was 116 mil should suddenly be worth 105. I think that that's an easy buy. You get back in, you make some money on this type of stuff. Personally, I already have tons of item stacks that I buy into, so I don't have just tons of cash lying around for times like this, but I wish I did. So just some parting notes I want to leave you with. The first one, don't panic. No matter what everyone's telling you in game, as long as you're enjoying the items, utilizing the items that you need, then why would you sell them? You don't need to do that. There's no reason other than just people trying to influence you and tell you that it's a good time, which in their minds it might be, but I don't believe so. Another note, when the entire market dips like this, you have the same buying power. Essentially, yes, your gear may not net as much GP, but you can still trade your gear for other gear just as easily, because if everything's went down the same amount, you're all trading the same. It's not really that detrimental. And finally, the only time it is going to be detrimental is if once the market has crashed, you decide now's the time to sell. And then once that crash has happened and you've sold, typically it's going to uptick back. And once that uptick back happens and the items that you've sold are now 10 to 20 mil more expensive, then you have much less buying power. You weren't able to utilize the items during the time that you had sold them. So that's a lot of money to just lose up front because you were scared. And I understand why you're scared, but once you've already lost that much money, what more can you lose? You may as well just ride it out, play the game the way you like, and have a good old time. So yeah, that's going to be it today as far as my take on the old school RuneScape market crash and how you should go about it. just try not to panic and remember to have a good old time playing the game. As long as you're having fun with the game, it doesn't matter what the market's doing or what people are freaking out about. That's why at the end of the day, Iron Man's a really fun game mode. Even though it's very grindy, the essence of it is just play and do what you like. You don't have to worry about this stuff. Don't let it consume you. Just have a good old time. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to leave a like. Anything you want to tell me, let me know in a comment down below. And if you want to see more videos like this as soon as they go live, make sure to subscribe. Also got other links you can find me and support me at down below if you'd like. Would appreciate it greatly. And with that said, hopefully you have a wonderful day and peace.